Good morning. Good morning, at least for the next 9 minutes anyway.
Yeah, yes, good morning. How are you today?
I'm good. It's been a somewhat relaxing day, which is nice because it's the last day of school for my kids. I don't know about yours,
Oh,
but today was the
uh,
last day.
no, they've been done, I think, since about the 15th
Oh, man.
or
Lucky
that week
you.
or something like that. It was yeah, it was around then, um, the end of that weekish.
Nice. No, my
Yeah.
kids just finished. Well, technically their work was done on Friday because grades had to be in on Sunday, but then holiday Monday, and then there were activities for them to do yesterday, and then today we had a reverse parade at the school. So we drove around, like the teachers all stood around the outside perimeter of the school and we drove around.
Ah,
So they got
nice.
to wave goodbye from 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 feet away. I don't even know, but it was cute. It was cute.
Nice.
So
Yeah, we had graduation.
good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Now What Business series. My name is Jennie Bellinger, and I am here as your facilitator and also featured speaker. But first, I wanted to welcome everybody back. For those of you who are coming back for the sixth installment of the Now What Business series, we really appreciate you taking the time and investing in yourself and your business for the last 6 weeks. We have amongst us our panelists, our previous speakers. We started our 6-week series with Megan Martin of Conquer Consulting. She's an executive career coach and she gave a presentation on mindset during COVID. Our next presenter was Marcel Brown with MB Tech, Marcel Brown Technology. He presented on technology during COVID. Our next presenter was Joanne May from the Small Business Development Center. Joanne presented on pivoting during COVID, and she also gave some information on the SBA and PPP loans. Our fourth speaker was Carol Sparks. Carol Sparks is with Sparks Law Office, and she gave a presentation on protecting your workforce, protecting your product, and protecting your business through all of this. And of course, she came from that protection standpoint from the legality issue there. And then our speaker last week was Kurt Rickoff with Rickoff and Associates. He's a small business advisor, and he talked about lessons learned and gave us an update on the loan forgiveness information that had just come out the previous week. And I'm now going to remind everybody that the information we're giving is true as of the date that we're recording this, which is May 27th, 2020. And for all of you participants during the course of today's presentation, if you have questions, please make sure you pull those up in the chat or the Q&A section. And Carol, will you be able to monitor that for me as well and stop for if anybody has any questions?
Sure, I would be happy to.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn it over to you now.
Wonderful. Today I'd like to introduce Jennie Bellinger, but before I give her extensive experience, let's just go ahead and celebrate and thank her for all that she's done to put this 6-week series together, to be our facilitator over the last 6 weeks, and to make sure that each and every one of our participants' questions was answered and heard throughout the process. So Jennie, thank you so much for that and for your leadership.
You're welcome.
Jennie Bellinger started her first business in 2010. During that time, she helped many other people start businesses as well and made a name for herself as a sales and leadership coach in the world of network marketing. In early 2017, she completed her certification as a professional coach with the Center for Coaching Certification, and Level Up Coaching LLC was launched March 1st, 2017. In this time, Jennie has coached and trained many sales professionals in over 35 direct sales companies, including doTERRA Oils, Rodan and Fields, Juice Plus, Paparazzi Jewelry, Isogenics, Young Living, Touchstone Crystal, Pure Romance, and many, many more. She has been hired as a sales coach in lawn and landscaping, painting, marketing, and financial advising companies as well. In addition to her coaching, Jennie is the executive producer and host of Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast series, which is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and many other podcast apps. Her presentation today is Sales is Not a Four-Letter Word. Go ahead, Jennie.
Thank you so much, Carol, for that introduction. I so appreciate that. Thank you, everybody, for being here today and investing in yourself and your business. And as you heard, my background is in sales. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information about me here. I've been a direct sales coach, 7 years in direct sales, during which time I earned 9 trips, multiple car bonuses, cash bonuses, jewelry prizes, and was internationally ranked at my company #1 and #3 for recruiting and sales, respectively. I currently offer coaching programs, private coaching, small group coaching, and large group coaching, as well as team trainings. I've been doing workshop training since 2004 and have trained and educated thousands in that time. I've been public speaking since 1992. And if you would like access to my contact information, you can text my name, Jennie, Jennie, to 64600. So the first thing I want to do is let you guys know that at the end of this, I do have a gift for everyone who is here. So please make sure you stay tuned until the very end of my presentation, where I will be able to give you information about that. So first thing we want to do is set a sales mindset. So I want to know kind of where you guys are. At least you should have an idea of where you are when it comes to sales. So how do you feel about sales? Are you someone who feels very confident with sales? Are you somebody who feels uncomfortable with sales? Do you feel it's kind of, maybe you feel like that angel and devil thing on your shoulder? Maybe you feel kind of torn or conflicted around sales. You realize how important it is, but perhaps you don't necessarily love the idea of it, right? So knowing where you stand when it comes to sales will help you begin to make the shift to understand that sales is indeed not a 4-letter word. So let me start by asking you this now. How many great sales experiences can you list off the top of your head? So just think to yourself, how many great experiences in your entire life have you had and I'm talking about this as a buyer, from your perspective as a buyer. Think about the really great sales experiences that you may have had. I'm going to give you a second there. Let you think. All right. Really think about it. What made it so great? What made that an exceptional experience for you as the buyer? And now let me ask you this. How many horrible sales experiences can you think of where you were the buyer? I'm willing to bet the number of horrible sales experiences are just tumbling out of your thoughts, right? Lots of horrible sales experiences. And I want you to think about what made those experiences so bad or horrible for you. And my guess is there's probably about 2 to 3 times as many of those horrible sales experiences. And I want to help explain to you why you remember so many of those bad sales experiences. It's because our brain is literally evolved to protect us from bad and painful experiences. So it's no wonder that we often feel conflicted or less than positive about sales, because our brain is literally trying to protect us from all those bad salespeople, give us all those warning signs, so that way we never have to go through that horrible, painful experience ever again. So in order to shift into a position where sales is something that you actually don't hate, and actually get to the point where you really become a lover of sales, because as you can tell, I love sales. It's what makes business go round. And so you're shifting your mindset can start just about anywhere. I personally like to start with the history of the word sales. So the history of the word sales is that it comes from Old Germanic English, a word sala. I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right because I don't speak Old English, but sala means to transfer. Okay, so back in Old Germanic English times, sala was to transfer. So I have something that you need to solve a problem that you have. You have money, but no solution. Let's transfer my solution for your money, right? So that helps hopefully to begin to make that transition, but knowing the history of the word is definitely not enough to completely transform your thoughts, beliefs, and feelings around sales. So we're going to dig just a little bit deeper now. So what's another reason why people feel gross about sales in terms of them being the salesperson? Because I cannot tell you how often I hear from people, oh, I'm not a salesperson, right? They say it as if it's this like bad thing to be a salesperson. And the reason for that is because when many people go into the sales process, the reason they feel gross sometimes is because they're begging for a buck or they're chasing the cha-ching. Or maybe if it's not those, it could be that they just are going into every conversation with dollar signs in their eyes. And when you go into a conversation like that with dollar signs in your eyes, it means that the transaction or the conversation outcome is all that they are concerned with. So, for example, they may be going into that conversation if thinking, if I don't close this sale, I'm going to lose this promotion. I'm not going to be able to earn my next promotion. Or they may even be thinking about how they may not be able to pay their rent, right? Notice how that entire thought process is all about them. They are approaching everyone with dollar signs in their eyes and reeking of desperation. So you can see how people would kind of begin to feel gross if you've ever been on the receiving end of that. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that when you were thinking about those horrible sales experiences that you had, it had nothing to do with a product that didn't work. It had more to do with the salesperson and how they approached you in a way that felt very much like you were just a bank account that was going to purchase their next product. So how can you approach a sales conversation in the right way? And given what's going on right now, there's many people who are concerned about how they're going to approach sales as they move forward or even continuing during these times. So let's start with the sales mindset and believing that number one, you are worth the conversation. You are the expert in your field. You are the person who knows your product, your service, your company the best. You know and believe that you have a product or service of value that this other person, they don't have access to that solution to their problem except through you. And that you're with a company that has integrity and values their customers, clients, and their sales reps. Because without a company backing you in that way, it's a lot harder to make a great sale and feel comfortable coming from that position. So this is where I'm going to spend a majority of the conversation today is on the sales mindset and magnetic language that actually helps draw people in to you during the conversation. Rather than having a goal of making a sale, what if your goal instead was to get to know this other person? What are their goals? What are their needs? What do they want? What problem or problems are they actually concerned with solving? When you're asking more questions and giving them the opportunity to answer them, you're going to be able to find out all of the answers to these questions. Now, what I use as a sales coach when I'm having conversations with prospective clients is I use a form, FORM. And what that actually stands for, as you can tell from the slide, that this is an acronym that helps me get to know the other person that I'm talking to. So F stands for family. O is occupation. R is recreation. And M is motivation. So I'm going to go through those in a little more detail now. So when you're talking about these with somebody, or the way that I address these with the people who I am having conversations with, is I start out by saying, well, tell me about your family. And the reason I say it that way instead of the more common, so are you married? is because you have no idea what their relationship status is. It could be that their spouse just asked for a divorce. It could be that they just broke off an engagement. There could be all kinds of very painful things that they don't want to talk with you about because they don't know you. But when you say it in a way of, tell me about your family, they get to choose who they tell you about as part of their family. So it could be that they're in a situation where their friends are their family. So they may tell you that. So it gives them the opportunity to choose what they share with you, and it makes it a little bit easier. The occupation part. So what do you do? Right? That's a pretty easy one. I also like to ask them, what do they love about what they do? Because this tells me a little more about who they are and what really matters to them. And it allows me to connect to their passion for what they do, why they love what they do. For recreation, of course, I'm not saying, what do you do for recreation? That's just an easy way to make the acronym work. What I actually do when I'm asking people about this, I say, what do you do for fun? So when you're not being a lawyer, when you're not when you're not being a salesperson for your company, what do you do for fun? Right? So let them tell me about that. And then again, following up with the question of, and why do you love that so much? Why do you love camping? Why do you love, whatever it is that they do tell you about? What do you love about traveling? All of those things that they do for fun. What do you love about card games, board games, movies, music? What do they love about knitting? Maybe they like to do knitting. Ask them those things. What do they love about it? And again, the more you can learn about them and you listen to the answers about why they love what they do and why they love what they do for fun, will tell you more about who they are and will help inform the sales process moving forward, because then you can actually make sure that your product or service connects with their passion and why they love what they do, or why they love what they do for fun. Can help get you through that sales process a little more easily, because you're selling to that person instead of just a random human being. And finally, motivation. I'm guessing most of you on the call today are not coaches, so it's going to feel a little weird for you to ask, so what motivates you, right? So this is where you can ask the question, like, what gets you out of bed every day? Like, what's your passion, right? When you ask those types of questions, again, it tells you more about who they are, and it will help you as you begin to learn more about personality, be able to really have a conversation with them and make sure that your product or service is going to fulfill who they are, and be able to fulfill solve the problem that they have in that way. During the conversation, you want to make sure you keep in mind you have two ears and one mouth, so use them proportionately. So you should be doing a lot more listening in a sales conversation than actually talking. It's not until they begin to make the decision that they are ready to buy from you that it's time to educate, unless they start asking you questions. The next part of this is to make sure that you have their best interest at heart and respect their boundaries. When you have the other person's best interest at heart, because I'm sure some of you have been in a sales conversation where the other person was so sure that you just absolutely have to buy this. And I'm just going to use this as an example. You have to buy this piece of fitness equipment because it's going to get you healthy and you have to do this. And I don't understand why you're not doing this, right? Well, that's not respecting boundaries, even though they know that this is your best interest at heart is to keep you healthy. If they're not respecting boundaries, that's not going to be a great sales conversation. So what I work with my clients on is making sure that we're having conversations in a way that is permission-based selling. So as you're asking them questions, they're answering those questions, you're listening carefully. When you begin to start asking the question, so, why is it that you reached out to me today? Why is it that you're here? Right. And they begin to tell you about the problems that they have and the reason that they think you can solve them. Start the process as you're talking about the problem that they have. Start with empathy. Start with empathy. Wow, that sounds like it's really frustrating, right? Or you might say, wow, that must be really uncomfortable, or whatever the issue may be, depending on what it is you're doing, right? But start with empathy, because when you start with empathy, it lets them know that you're listening to them and you care about their feelings. And then once you're able to ask them or connect with them in that way from the empathy, then you're able to ask them, and are you interested in solving that problem? This is where it becomes permission based, because once you say, are you interested in solving this problem? And they answer in the affirmative, they say, yes, I want to solve this problem. Then you have the opportunity to say, well, I think I have a solution. May I share it with you? Or we have multiple solutions and I'd like to help you pick the one that might be best for you. Those are very different conversations than saying, oh, wow, you have a horrible problem. I'm totally going to solve it for you, right? Most people are not going to react well to that. But when you ask, number one, if they want to solve the problem, and number two, letting them know that you think you have a solution, so can we talk about it, puts the ball in their court, gives them the power that they want in order to make an educated buying decision. Because keep in mind, no one loves to be sold, but everybody loves to buy, right? So if you can make this a conversation such that you are able to get them involved in the conversation about the solution, then it's not a sales conversation. Then it's an educated buying decision. If they do have interest in making that the problem that they're going to solve right now. So great salespeople do help educate the prospect about the problem. So you will, at that point, once they decide that, yes, they do want to solve the problem, you can then educate them about the problem, which then allows them to ask more questions about the solutions that you provide. And you can then, at that point, continue to have the conversation about the different solutions that you have. Now, they may decide at that point in time that this is not their top of mind problem, that this is not necessarily something that they want to solve right now. But moving forward, you are now the person who educated them. And when they are ready to make the decision, they're more likely to come back to you as long as you maintain a relationship with them. Follow up, right? The easiest way that you can follow up with somebody who says they're not ready to solve the problem right now, and I actually learned this from a client of mine, and now I use it and train all my clients on this wording, which is when somebody says, no, not right now, the best thing you can follow up with is a question that says, so when would you like me to follow up in such a way that I don't drop the ball, but you don't feel pushed? When would you like me to follow up such that I don't drop the ball and you don't feel pushed? Giving you guys time to write that down because I know that was a game changer for me. And if you've never heard that wording before, I know you're probably writing it down right now. So again, when can I follow up with you such that I don't drop the ball, but you don't feel pushed? And as I promised, I do have a gift for everybody here. I would like to offer a complimentary sales coaching for everybody who's watching. All you have to do, if you'd like to set that time up with me, is send me an email, Jennie@levelupcoachllc.com. In the subject line, just put in complimentary coaching. and you will receive a 30-minute coaching session with me. I'll send you a link where you can book a time if you're interested. Make sure you let me know what company you're with in the body of the message. Carol, do we have any questions so far?
There are none yet. So if anyone does have a question, you can go ahead and put them in the chat box or in the Q&A. And just as I was saying that, Joanne has posted a question for us, Jenny. So your first question is, what are your thoughts about a call center? Pros, cons? Should they be sales focused or just customer service focused?
That really, I think it has to do with how you train your call people. If they are trained in this way of building relationship and being available, I don't see there being an issue with having a call center who can make reach outs for people who express interest in that particular product or service. Customer service is certainly going to be very important because it is easier to keep a customer than it is to actually try to get new ones. It's 5 times more expensive to get a new customer than to keep a current one. So, and not only that, your current customers are much more likely, they're about 30% more likely to spend more money on a new product as compared to a new customer. So if you have a new thing come out, a current customer or previous customer is 30% more likely to purchase that item than a new one. I hope that answers your question.
Joanne, was that a answer for you? Any follow-up on that?
No, that was great. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Jenny, your next question is from Cheryl Newman. She's asking, what is the best way to sell online or Facebook Live? I do a pop-up event, so I'm not out in public just yet.
Absolutely. Again, so it's finding people who are interested in your product or service. I am not a digital or online marketing guru, so I would not necessarily say that I'm the person to ask about how to do digital marketing or sales. But if you are doing online pop-ups with people who are interested, making sure that they're bringing people who are interested in solving the problem that you solve, then bringing those people in through an online marketplace is certainly a good way to do that. And doing Facebook Lives is a great way to begin to educate. The more value you can bring, the more you can elevate yourself as an expert in the field in which you are selling is going to be very helpful. So making sure that your Facebook Lives are not always about sales, but your Facebook Lives are about education and providing value. So you may not always be necessarily talking about product or service necessarily, but having conversations around ancillary things that are connected to your company, that are connected to your product, that are connected to your industry. So, for example, since you said you're doing pop-up sales, I'm guessing you're possibly in the fashion or possibly fashion industry. I'm not sure about that because I don't know you, Cheryl. But for example, if you were with, let's say, a jewelry company, because that's just my history. I was with a jewelry company for 7 years. I gave fashion advice that was outside of jewelry. So I made sure I was staying on with, and I was doing Facebook Lives that had to do with upcoming colors of the season and the new and trending hairstyles and so that way people could get more information around that. So
Jenny, Cheryl sells apparel and gifts, dog themed.
Oh, there you go. Oh gosh, yeah. So absolutely. So in that case, you could talk about other puppy parent type Facebook Lives. So talking about trends in grooming, trends in new kinds of nutrition advice for dogs, any of those things that are going to help elevate you as an expert knowing about all things related to dogs. That makes perfect sense. Good. I hope that helped, Cheryl.
Great question, Cheryl. Any other questions on that? Even specific questions? You have an expert at your disposal, so ask away.
Now, I do have a little bit of next level sales information while people are possibly typing in their questions. One of the other things that is very helpful in the world of sales is if you can make sure that you are not only able to solve one particular type of product. So, for example, I'm obviously a salesperson, right? A sales coach. I help people with their sales process. But I've also grown a network of knowing many different people in many different industries because I want to make sure that I can help be of service to my clients, to my customers, and to other business owners that I know in order to help them solve just about any problem they could ever encounter by making sure that I've got a large network of people. So, getting out and networking isn't necessarily always about getting your next sale, but being connected to other like-minded business owners, salespeople, entrepreneurs who are solving other problems, and then you can become the go-to person for all of them to be able to say, "Hey, I know someone who," right, when they have a particular problem. So in that process, when you are able to grow a network that then you are able to solve other problems in addition to your primary problem, being able to be the go-to person means that as you give referrals to other businesses, they will oftentimes come back to you and say, "How can I help you?" And they will end up then hopefully being in that reciprocity mindset, helping enough other people get what they want so you can get what you want. They will hopefully then also return the favor with referrals when they encounter somebody who is looking for someone like you. So using networking as a way, as another form of opening a sales funnel to meet other people who know your potential clients is a great way to begin to improve your sales process and improve the number of people who are coming to you as qualified potential clients. In moving forward, that's a great way to help grow your business in the next year. And right now, this is a great time to really be super focused in the type of networking you're doing, really getting to know people and what they offer in order to be able to give great referrals. And last bit is, what questions do you have? Because how you sell matters. What your process is matters. But how your customers feel when they engage with you matters more. And that's all I have to share about my sales process. I do want to thank all of the previous presenters who are here. Thank you so much, Megan, Marcel, Joanne, Carol, and Kurt. It has been my honor to be able to have the opportunity to work with all of you and be able to hear what you guys have to share. And then please know, for all of our participants, you are welcome to go visit levelupcoachllc.com in order to get the contact information for all of our experts, as well as being able to view the video recordings of their presentations. So thank you. And if there are any other additional questions, now's the time. I'm guessing that's probably it. I really want to thank everybody for coming out. Based on our pre-show chatter, some of us were talking about how we're thinking we would like to make sure that we're going to continue being able to offer value moving forward. So please keep your eyes open, and we'll be reaching out to all of you with any information moving forward if we do decide to do some additional workshops to be able to help you guys out moving forward. So thank you, everybody. Thank you to all of our experts. And I think that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now. Thank you, everybody.